AM 560. The Answer.
Now, you know I got a soft spot for that, but that's nowhere as good as...
Where in the world is
Darren Bailey.
Show
Darren
me
Bailey.
a sign, give me a clue, drop me a hint and tell me something new. It's a global mystery, you've got to watch and see. Where in the world is
Darren Bailey.
Darren Bailey. Where are you, Darren? Big dummy. Tell you what, I don't know what's worse, the never-Trumpers nationally or the ones locally.
A vote tomorrow to advance President Trump's nominee for Attorney General has been called off as the senior senator from Texas refuses to vote yes.
773-572-3337 is his Houston office. Ask him why. Why? Hey, Cornyn. 713-572-3337 is his office in Houston. If you want to call Washington, D.C., where nobody ever is, 202-224-3121. And then ask about the SAVE Act. Why do you like illegals? Why do you like elections that are stolen? Oh, John! Big dummy. Tom, Blue Island.
Well, Shaun, thanks for that lead-in and dittos.
Thank you.
For years, so almost 10 years now, we've heard how stupid Trump supporters are and how we're mindless rubes. And the most wonderful thing about a guy like John Cornyn or Bill Cassidy or Tom Tillis is so here's Cornyn proving that Trump supporters and Texas voters were 100% right to kick his crooked ass out, because if he had got the nomination over Paxton, he'd be kissing the big Trump ass right now. But he got thrown out, and so this is how he reacts.
Well,
Good.
he'd be like Murkowski and Collins. He was always an obstructionist, and the reason is his support for Ukraine. Which if a politician supported Ukraine, they got their beak wet. There's no doubt in my mind, no doubt.
Here are the undeniable facts. There are 25 to 30 U.S.-funded biolabs in Ukraine.
Yeah, and aside from that, you covered up the Biden crime syndicate. You covered it up, and you knew you did.
Convincing us that we should be providing for loan guarantees. And I went over, I guess, the 12th, 13th time to Kyiv, and I was supposed to announce that there was another $1 billion loan guarantee. And I had gotten a commitment from Poroshenko and from Yatsenyuk that they would take action against the state prosecutor, and they did.
Who was looking into why anybody would put your crackhead, whoremongering, degenerate pig son on the board of an energy company in Ukraine. Scumbags. Terry, Shirakistan.
Hey, Shaun, I remember when they used to call Chicago like the bungalow belt, and those houses provided stability. But you look at the St. Louis, their projects, they tear them down. You look at Cabrini Green, you look at Robert Taylor, anything over a 3-unit housing has a whole bunch of problems, and you can't isolate it. Just go back to just bungalow belts. That's the solution to your social problems.
Well, you have to, I understand, but you're doing that thing where you're trying to solve the problem. It's not the problem they're trying to solve. It's the information of the destruction of life in the ghetto. For instance, if you put somebody in Oak Park, all the shootings and the mayhem and the robberies and the carjackings, it doesn't go on the statistics of Chicago, which so far this year you have 1,109 people shot. So if you just get shot in Oak Park, it's not on the list. You see, you got to think like a scumbag criminal. You got to learn how to speak Democrat mafia language short in the pants. I thought you would have. You've been there a long time now. Greg LaGrange.
How you doing, Shaun?
Good, babe.
I always love the Bork interviews because the guy is so good.
He's wicked smart.
I have absolutely no tolerance for government getting involved in any kind of government involvement with a company because they're not a common shareholder. Their weight skews everything and biases everything in the company because the government is that major 800-pound gorilla shareholder.
And it destroys the principle of antitrust. This is the thing you got to remember about Bert. His specialty is arguing the principal point of why you told us you needed the power to break up companies. called antitrust. Well, now when you own the company, you're not going to break it up. You're a vested interest in it.
No.
So it's funny to watch them pivot on the reality. It's a jujitsu of capitalism versus the true definition of socialism. That's socialism. But go on.
Here's the thing that gets you. You know, who announces this kind of stuff? Who says this is going forward? The Department of Commerce. Commerce shouldn't even exist. That department shouldn't even exist.
Well,
so you have one bureaucracy basically making an announcement for another bureaucracy saying we're going to take over these companies, we're going to make them right, and then we're going to step away. When does government step away from anything?
And you have
step in it. They don't step away.
You have to also realize how it destroys any form of competition. Why would somebody open a company to compete with it? You know, and then people will point. Now, listen, to the defense of the people who say, well, it's not that bad. You know, it's South Dakota, Wyoming, whatever, these very sparsely populated communities. Well, they have sovereign wealth funds, but that operates differently. They're vested and they're not vested. They have common shares. They have no position on the boards, and I still don't like it, by the way. But what it does is it hides the fact that they also refuse to sell the land and let it be developed by us, the people, which is how you keep a country this big. Only 6% developed when you have thousands of ghost towns, communities that were entirely built up and abandoned because of bad policy. So it's really interesting to watch the juxtaposition of what a capitalist society, what a citizen republic is. And you slowly erode it, and people start to champion it who call themselves conservative and capitalists. They start to sound a lot like socialists.
Can I get one last thing in?
Shoot.
You know, it's kind of interesting. Yesterday, all the Republicans in Senate they're all unified against Dr. Fauci. I get it. Josh Hawley makes this grandiose speech about all this kind of stuff, you know, about the abuses of what he did and what he didn't do and all the kind of things and the enrichment that's going on. You know, where are these guys on the SAVE Act? Why don't they have the guts to challenge their own internal leadership like they did Fauci? I'm not drawing an equivalence here, but what I'm saying is these guys got to get on the ball, because if you want to keep a republic, you better make sure the republics run straight.
Well, first you must hamstring. First, you must hamstring yourself by nullifying the principle of what the Senate and a republic is. Why in the world do they arbitrarily need 60 votes when Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats, anytime they need a vote, they get rid of it? They get rid of the filibuster. There's no filibuster whenever they want it to be. So they can do it, but we got to play by the rules. That's why a Marcus of Queensberry champion will always lose to a guy from Melrose Park.